All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. The San Francisco 49ers have won the NFC West in each of the last 2 years, with 2022's title mainly coming at the expense of the Seattle Seahawks. The 49ers swept the regular season from the Seahawks last year with the cherry on the top coming in the postseason, where San Francisco completed the hat trick as they beat Seattle for the third time in the season. But hope always springs eternal, and the Seahawks were hopeful heading into the season that they had indeed closed the gap on the Niners. But their Thursday night clash in the Pacific Northwest showed that Seattle still has some work ahead of them. The Seahawks lost at home on Thanksgiving night 31-13. And honestly, the final score was not indicative of the 49ers' dominance. The 49ers were up 24-3 at the break as their offense has continued to click since the return to the starting lineup of offensive tackle Trent Williams as well as wide receiver Deebo Samuel. And the Niners' defense was not that shabby either, as they were creating pressure on Seahawks quarterback Geno Smith all night long. Now, Seattle did have a chance to get back into this contest as early on in the third, Jordan Brooks returned a 12-yard interception for a touchdown to make it 24-10. But then later on, the Seahawks missed an opportunity to cut into that deficit even more. They got deep into the 49ers territory before the Niners defense stiffened and that pass rush that I talked about began wreaking havoc on Geno Smith. And with it, when it's all said and done, Seahawks had to settle for a field goal to make it 24-13. And from there, the Niners were able to put the game on ice. They got the game's final touchdown to make it 31-13. A very crisp drive, a lot of balance with both running and throwing by this 49ers offense. And from that point on, it was the San Francisco defense, mainly their defensive line, that really pinned their ears back and started coming after Geno Smith as the Seahawks offense was one dimensional. But you look at it, the Seahawks, they are an improving team, but they just lack the playmakers on both sides of the ball that San Francisco currently has. And you look at this 49ers offense, like I've talked about it before, when they're healthy, who do you double? And I think we're seeing that now with Deebo back because he changes a lot of things. And of course, like I talked about it before, Trent Williams. Trent Williams on that offensive line, arguably the best left tackle in football. He brings a lot of nasty in a good way to that team. He's an intimidator. And when he's out there, things are a lot different. But having, a multifaceted guy like Debo in that lineup, along with Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle and Brandon Ayuk, it's one of those where okay, if you want to focus on McCaffrey, Debo's going to get you. If you want to focus on McCaffrey and Debo, George Kittle's going to pick you apart. And if you bring your safeties up, a guy like Brandon Ayuk can just really go over the top. But then you look at this pass rush by the 49ers, and they've gotten better since they acquired Chase Young from Washington a couple of weeks ago. And, we saw the San Francisco defense sack Geno Smith 6 times on Thursday night. And Nick Bosa is one of those guys. He's a stereotypical pass rusher where he can get them in bunches. And not only that, he knows how to make the key plays when they need to be made. He knows how to really, ratchet up the intensity and get to that quarterback. And when it's all said and done, when you got guys like him and Chase Young rushing the passer, that is a recipe for success, not just here in the regular season, but of course in the postseason. You got to find a way to dial up that pressure, especially late in those key moments in postseason games. And the Niners have that. The question is, are the 49ers hitting their stride? Possibly. You're looking at a team that the bye week came at the right time for them. They made some adjustments. More importantly, they got healthy. And you look at their 3 games since the bye. They dominated Jacksonville 34-3 a couple of weeks ago. They had to work a little bit to beat Tampa Bay last Sunday at home. And then, of course, the Seattle contest. Now, a big time test is coming up for the 49ers next Sunday when they travel to Lincoln Financial Field to take on the Philadelphia Eagles. And plain and simple, these are the 2 best teams in the NFC. There is No ifs, ands, or buts about it. They then have the rematch with Seattle at home in the following week. And then on Christmas night, they host the Baltimore Ravens, big time game. But the 49ers right now are in the catbird seat in regards to winning this division. They're 8-3. Their next closest contender is Seattle. Seattle 6-5 with a 2-game lead. But obviously, it's a 3-game lead, being that the 49ers currently hold the tiebreaker. And then on top of that, on the flip side for Seattle, they're not going to catch the 49ers, and they have their work cut out for them in regards to getting a wild card spot. They're going to be on the road in Dallas next Thursday night to take on the Cowboys, and then followed by the rematch in San Francisco with the 49ers. And then right after that, they come back home and host Philly. They still got Pittsburgh at home as well. So Seattle's really going to have to fight scrap and claw coming down the stretch. I said it not on here at least, but when it happened, the Seahawks might regret that loss to the Rams this past Sunday. And no disrespect to the Rams, but you look at it, Seattle late in that game was in scoring territory with about 30 seconds left when Geno Smith made the pass play to DK Metcalf, and the Seahawks unfortunately sat on the ball instead of trying to get some more yardage to make it an easier kick for Jason Myers. I don't care if it's indoors or not. 55 yards is not an easy kick at any level of football. And when it's all said and done, that definitely cost the Seahawks in that game. It might come back to bite them as far as trying to get a playoff spot. But you look at the 49ers, I think this team is getting their rhythm. Obviously, next week is going to be a big test for both them and Philadelphia, but the Niners are still going to be a team to be reckoned with. And like I said, Seattle's going to have to fight scrap and claw at this point. They got to get back to their basics. Obviously, this team is predicated by their ability to run the football, setting things up for play action to the likes of Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf and rookie Jackson Smith and Jingba. And then their defense, they have an opportunistic defense. And I think if the Seahawks are able to get back towards that, they definitely have a chance to get to a postseason spot. But you look how things have changed just in a matter of a couple of days. Obviously, the Lions lost on Thursday while the 49ers won. So now the Niners are up to 2 in the NFC playoff seeding, while the Lions have dropped to 3, and Seattle is down to 7th right now in the wild card standings. Obviously, the third wild card, but 7th overall in the NFC. But of course, the bulk of teams will be playing tomorrow, so we got to wait and see what happens. But nonetheless, still plenty of football left heading into the month of December. But nonetheless, big statement by the 49ers on Thursday night as they showed that the road to the NFC West title still goes through the Bay Area. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take the time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now, you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I am signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.